Hi, Devin. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thanks. So I know that you've been working hard finding out all kinds of information about your school and your site and your classroom. So tell me a little bit about what you have found out.
Well, I met with my administrator, and she walked me through a lot of the school policies, what to do if there's an emergency, evacuation procedures, just a lot of how the day goes at the school, bell schedule, and just, expectations of teachers.
And I know the setting is a little bit untraditional. You're at a charter school. And so what are the procedures for the students who enter into the charter school?
All students that enter the school go through an audition process, and so they're not necessarily looking for students that have a lot of ability or talent, but just that they really want to be here. So just a desire to be at the school, and that it's an arts-focused school, so we don't have any sports. So just making sure the students, this is where they want to be, and that way that if someone wants to be here and can't get in, we're making sure we're getting the right students.
And do you think that affects your teaching in any way? Do you think that having students audition is beneficial?
I think they're passionate about what they're doing. I teach dance classes, so a lot of them, dance or the arts in general, might not be accessible to them. And this gives these students an opportunity, and they have just a lot of desire to be there. And so it's kind of exciting to be a part of these classes.
Oh, good. So tell me a little bit about the makeup of your class, the caseload that you have, and how that might affect your teaching and your instruction.
When I taught at a private studio, I would have about 10 or 12 kids. Right now, my classes range from 23 to 37.
Oh, wow.
And so that's been a huge adjustment for me, especially the class of 37. It's just a lot of students, and making sure that I'm there and I'm helping them with movements and I'm correcting them, and that I'm able to support every single student. It's a little overwhelming.
I bet.
I'm definitely having,
So the class that you have 37 students, what are some of the things that you're doing?
Well, let's see here. I started off by, I found that I spent so much of my class time just trying to get them into rows and organized that I lost large chunks of time. So what I did was I created a seating chart for them. And after I'd assessed them for about a week or so and figured out where my strong students were, I placed them in the center of each rows so that they could kind of be the leaders of the class and be there to support students that are struggling. And then every single day the class rotates. So if everyone has a chance to learn from every area of the classroom, but it also helps me when I can focus on the first 2 or 3 rows, making sure that I reach each student, I talk to them, I give them corrections, I give them feedback, and then they rotate back, and I know that if I do that the next day, that I'm at least trying to, I guess, be there for each student. I'm not having a student hiding in the back and I'm not able to support them or, address any issues they might have in the class.
And from your class profile, have you learned of any students that have any accommodations or need extra help with anything?
I have one student that has a 504, and so she has some accommodations for testing. So if I'm going to give a test in my class, I know that she needs to test in a quiet environment, not in the classroom. So I have to kind of plan ahead and make sure that I have reserved a conference room and that I've let the office know that I'm going to be sending her over for a test, and that one of the office staff's kind of keeping an eye on her. So I can't just, if I don't think ahead, I have to put the test off. So I really have to be on top of that. And then I have 2 other students with SSTs, so I just need to make sure that if they have a written assignment and that they don't do well on it, if they score below a 70%, that I give them the option to make it up for up to 80%. And so just trying to be on top of the assignments I give and which students I need to accommodate or not, and just make sure I address what the administration has set up for them.
Great.
So.
And I know one of the pieces that you were to gather in the context for teaching was how to communicate with parents. Sometimes parents can be a little bit hard to reach, especially if they work different hours. So what are some of the things that you're doing to ensure that you can contact parents even if they're not available when you are?
Well, my prep happens in the middle of the workday, so a lot of parents aren't available. And after school, to make phone calls can sometimes be difficult because I have to pick my children up from school. So I found email to be like the best way. My parents seem to be really happy with that. I can return emails very early in the morning before it's appropriate to call them. And I can return them late at night, once I really have time to read through and think about it. And that seems it's a very quick way to respond back to them. They are very happy. And even through an email, I can set up a time to contact a parent so that we're not spending 2 or 3 days playing phone tag, but we're able to address the issue a little bit quicker.
Good. And as far as the school site, have you learned anything new about any scheduling or any modified times that might impact your instruction in any way?
Well, my students have 5 minutes to dress at the beginning of class and 5 minutes to get dressed back into their street clothes at the end of the class. So I'm losing 10 minutes to just changing their clothes. And so that takes my 50-minute class down to 40 minutes. And I guess if I had it my way, I'd prefer like an hour and a half with them a day. I can warm them up, I can work on movements. So I really just have to be on top of it. I need to get my class started quickly. I need to have, if I can't address turns and jumps and kicks all in one day, that I spread them out throughout the week.
And since you're new at the school, have you found that the other teachers that have been here longer have worked with you collaboratively? Have you felt like there's a really communicative community here, culture?
Yeah, my department is great. I work with 3 other dance teachers, so they have been amazing, just helping to guide me in, making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because it's a lot to take in all at once. But I also find that other departments, there have been, there's a history teacher, he's always kind of looking out and asking if I have any questions. It's not just in my department. A lot of teachers have reached out to me, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's a little overwhelming kind of just jumping right into here, and to have that type of support has made it so much easier.
Yeah, well, that's nice. You're lucky. So is there anything that you've had a hard time finding about your school that you had additional questions about that I can help you with?
So far it's been okay. I was able to sit down with the administrator and go through, they do like all new teachers that come in, they do kind of a boot camp, like a preparation for new teachers, separate from the rest of the staff. And they really take the time to go through everything. And
Yeah, good. So, from all of the evidence that you have about your school site, your classroom, what do you think is like the biggest piece that you're going to take away from all of this?
just how to maximize my class time, to really use it as best as I possibly can. And
Well, it looks like you've really gathered a lot of information about your school site and your class, and it looks like you're well on your way to having a successful school year.
thanks.
Yeah.